Welcome back. All right, so we're up to 19th now on this playlist. And yeah, the LA Kings are up next. So we're going to talk about the LA Kings, a team that's had its share of looks over the years, and they've had some pretty nice looks. Honestly, the look they have currently to me is the most plain-ish looking, but I do like that the silver on it sparkles. But we'll get away from jersey talk for now. The LA Kings are interesting when you look at their chart because you have a pretty good start, and then all this here, and then it starts going up over the last couple of years, and you've got the precipitous drop they've been going through recently. So they're 16th currently on the power rankings. They've been really high on the power rankings. They have been number one this year twice, and so watching them kind of fall apart over the last month has been tough to watch. And I say that as a non-Kings fan. They brought their work boots every game on the road for that first 11 game stretch, and since then they've had a harder time of it. I'm recording this the day after Drew Doughty called his teammates out. He's not wrong. There are definitely some players that just aren't playing well enough. And the interesting thing was the comment section had varying players that people are blaming right now. So it seems like there's a lot of blame to go around in LA. Now, their overall points percentage from 2017-18 until now is 19th, 539 points percentage. So it matches up. Their top scorer over this period is, of course, Anze Kopitar, because it has to be. He's been their leading scorer every year forever. 497 games, 153 goals, 292 assists, 445 points. Kopitar will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's got a couple of cup rings, and he really is still the forward that this team revolves around. Now, Kopitar has had a harder time getting the goals over the last month or so than he had prior. And is that part of it? Yeah, I think there's a lot of blame to go around with LA. I really do. But at the same time, you don't want to just get into the blame game and pointing fingers. You got to figure out a way to make the graph that's showing them moving down go in the other direction. I'm going to say right now, they're not 16th as I'm recording this. They're lower than that. So for LA, it does feel like the season could be getting away from them. The good news being there's a lot of season left to fix it. And after the All-Star break, maybe that helps. Jonathan Quick's been the top goaltender in terms of wins during this stretch, because of course he has 110, 108, and 29 record, 903 save percentage. His numbers were kind of ugly as last year in LA, so he got traded, which fans didn't like it. They didn't like how that was handled, but it was justified when the team played well, and it's been justified when the team's playing well, but when they're not, it isn't. Sorry, had to pause, needed a bit of a drink because, it's a lot of videos I'm doing right now. My voice is kind of like, are you serious? Another one? So 2023 being their last playoff appearance, they don't want that to be their last playoff appearance when I'm talking about them next year. We don't want to talk about them missing the playoffs because you have some key guys like Doughty, like Kopitar, who are older, and so they're going to start slowing down, and you want to get into that conversation for Stanley Cup and maybe win that third Stanley Cup with those guys rather than lose the year. So for the LA Kings, for Rob Blake, there's a lot of pressure on this team to succeed and a lot of pressure on them to do well. Of the three teams in California, LA's the best of the three. However, it's faint praise at this point. A lot of teams have come out west and done really well against California. Fans have been mad at me because I don't really reward teams for going through California and playing well because everybody seems to be going through California and playing well these days. So it definitely diminishes the impact in my overall power rankings, although it does cause the LA Kings to drop. And it keeps Anaheim and San Jose at the bottom. But LA doesn't want to be at the bottom. They've had their time at the bottom. You look at this team. So it started off with 2017-18. They were first for at least 1 week that year. For 1 week. The one in brackets is how many weeks they were number one. Lowest they got was 21st. 11.23 was their average. That's their best year. And, of course, that ended with a 4-game sweep at the hands of the Vegas Golden Knights, which we didn't expect. We had expected LA to win, a game. And Jonathan Quick was ridiculous in that series, and they didn't win a game for him. But that was their best year. Since then, it's been kind of a down, iffy year. Now, this year, they're averaging at 6.53, but that average is going to get higher. That number is definitely going to go up between the 16th they had this week, which is factored into that. But then this coming week on the 27th, obviously, unless something dramatic happens, LA is going to drop again in the power rankings. Their need. To me, the need is simple. Get back to work. Figure out maybe watch film of those games they were winning on the road and figure out what they were doing then that they're not doing now. And hard work is difficult to measure. I've talked about this in recent videos as well. It's almost impossible to measure who's working the hardest, but they just don't seem to go for those pucks in the corners as much as they did earlier in the year. They don't seem to, my voice just wants to die. But they might need a trade. So I talked in a video last week about trades that they've made in the month of June and how those have aged. They haven't aged all that well. So they need Dubois to turn around first up, but they might need another trade to pull themselves out of this. I would think that they'll be very active coming up to the trade deadline because, as I said, you can't lose this season. They need to do something this season. And not only that, but if they make the playoffs and lose in the first round again, especially if it was, against Edmonton again, because Edmonton could still end up finishing first in the division. They could end up being the number 2 wild card, or Edmonton and LA could end up 2-3. Whatever happens from here, right? So they need to get out of the first round too. I don't think that if they cobble this together, they make it work, and they make the playoffs and lose in the first round, I don't think Kings fans are going to be happy. I think they want to see some advancement in the playoffs. The pressure's there, so can they measure up to it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event that you haven't hit those buttons yet. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.